Hello? 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 Nobody's here today? Hello?
Screen's just dummy up.
I want you to please stop waving at me. Who's going to wave at me? There you go.
President, skin this week. No legs, yes. Just that $1. Saturday,
For now, yeah.
spent 4 hours in the emergency room to find out that the wife has pneumonia.
Oh, that's last week.
I don't think I want to go to this. Got issues over here.
President Kid, don't mind some guests. I had a big weekend.
Yes, we.
And
Oh, down there.
100 half pints of tuna and 12
If I'm early,
pints
no one will come late. If I'm short, nobody
of
minds.
busy.
I'm sure we'll be
Kind of a
short.
sad dollar.
This is just a,
This will be, I won't be here next week. My brothers are coming down. My brothers are coming down from Belgium, and we're going to spend 4 days at Carmen's place down at the beach. Then I
Walt.
got 2 happy daughters.
Walter, you got the
Week
flag?
Saturday,
Okay.
I fly to France and take a cruise from Paris to Normandy. Be going, so I'll be back October 2nd.
Anybody else want to go with one of our newbies? President Ken, I have a happy daughter that I do have my grandchildren, but I have a sad daughter because Longview teachers are on strike, so that's why I have. Thank you. I know the feeling. I'm recruited too. Yeah.
Whoever, whatever you say around there. Anyway, just got back from Reno last week, and this next week I'm going back for the air races.
Oh, boy, do you look sticky or what?
Looks great.
Brad, I'm so impressed.
He looks great.
Ken. I'm going to turn over a new leaf. I just want to say you're all great. You're good looking.
You want us to sit off to the side or what? Huh? You want us to sit off to the side or what? With this going?
This isn't going until she's ready for the presentation.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's not being used before that?
No, we do this before the meeting starts.
There we go.
Burn. Show up once in a while to teach us.
King Lyman, Ken, Colonel Lyman, yes. Extremely happy people. George Moore's, what, 70 years late going to Normandy, but that's okay. I have a happy dollar.
And then turn the damn light on.
Last week was
Put the black.
Turn that thing off. I think today is our 102nd anniversary. So I got Eileen a gift today. I went up and picked up a new lawnmower.
We have a couple people in the office that are diabetic and
Tom,
are
put her disc in. Put her disc in. Yeah.
It's number 2. There's 2 presentations.
I have a happy daughter, Bob is off the floor and walking. They're looking good. Yes, David?
Yeah. We play a promo before every meeting now.
I guess I didn't notice that last week. I was here.
There's $1 for anyway, President Ken, on the line.
death, it was happy buck for the happy, there's a dollar for the happy buck. Life don't stumble through that, I don't know. I stumble anyway, you know, but anyway. I'm just happy to say that my friends, and I've got a lot of friends, and I worked for 43 years. In retail, and I've had a lot of things to do now. I'm going to continue to, and I'm going to sing a song today, and it's a short one, but it's to the point. Happiness is the Savior living a life in His Savior. Happiness is the Lord. Real joy is mine, where teardrops should fall. I found the secret. Yes, Jesus in my heart, happiness is to know the Savior, living a life in His favor, happiness is the Lord. God bless each and every one of you. Thank
In the line, I guess I have $10 dollars. One was what I opted early to have and celebrate my wife's birthday on the 27th of August. Then I get to celebrate my birthday the 6th of September. But it's short, still a couple days later. And then the 10th, I get to celebrate 49 years with my wife.
Is this mic any louder?
Each dollar is for the past 6 decades. Yes. Because as of this Thursday, all the years this time for 60 years. And to celebrate our anniversary, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. and New York in October.
Line and tow line to guess I have a rebuttal hour. I guess it must be senile. It's been 60 years and it'll keep going 100. And I'll finish it off with how about them foods, huh?
Do you happen to have a ride home?
The doghouse. Now you know why our son says I deserve a medal, and I'm going to have big rewards when I get to heaven. So I'll drink to that.
Hey, the boss flew out here.
President and fellow members and guests, I've got to get rid of the first one first. Here's $5 because my wife directed me to tell everyone that we have been married now for 49 years. The second 5 is it's good to be home after 15 days of cruising and land tours in Alaska. And that's enough for me.
First thing, yeah, fellow line suggests I have observation dollar. Mark Kelch isn't here again today. Never mind. I'm glad you made it back.
Mr. President, fellow Lions, and honored guests. I am, but it is nice in here today. I have $1. I'm so excited to get selling dance tickets. But you know what? I need your help too. Each one of you, kind sir, would you like your dance ticket now instead of eating your wonderful salad? I guess not. I guess not. Well, I have dance tickets here with me. So please shop. Let's support our club. And I have a special $1. Let's sing happy birthday to Lauren for our friends. Woo! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lauren. Happy, happy, happy birthday to you. Happy Lord. And a happy $1 for my husband who worked so hard putting lights in our yard yesterday on his knees. He did an excellent job. Thank you.
Over and over.
Do you have a remote for me? Okay, I guess we're coming to the front table. Oh, wait, no, there's Cindy. Whoa. Bill, we're stopping here first. First stop.
Everybody out.
President Canfield Alliance and guests, I have a very, very happy $1 because as of Saturday, I am married to a septuagenarian.
Boy, what's that?
Didn't know she was that much younger.
Stick this Cindy with a finger that won't heal.
President Canfield Alliance and guests, I have $5. I'll start with a few sad ones first. One, I stepped on the scales much to my practice event. I've lost more weight. Two, the finger's not looking really that good, so I'm just hoping the texture's not bad. But I have, I can 23 pints of sweet pickles for my garden park shirt. And pick some beads, and those are like for another big thing. The finger's not smoky now. Also, on Thursday is Jim's birthday.
Miss Dina. Jean. President Canfield, Alliance and guests, I have a couple of happy $1. One is, some of you know that my granddaughter is in the Kelso marching band this year, and we had our first football game last Friday, and the Kelso field looks awesome. So there's a happy $1 for that. The second is I guess it's a happy $1. We had a evacuation drill at work today, and I showed up in the parking lot.
President Can, fellow Lions, and fellow guests. I've been here for a half hour now, and I'm happy because I haven't been fighting yet.
El Presidente.
Fellow Lions and guests, two happy $1. The first happy $1.
Oh, we can.
Hey, it's on. The first happy $1 is I finally had my first taste of Oregon State football. That's the end of the discussion. Cougars up on top again, as usual. The other happy $1 is I am just very happy to be here to see such a great turnout today. We have a couple of great things coming up, and I'm sure you're going to appreciate it. You can't hear it? That's what everybody said. Good. With that, that it? Oh, Darlene. Nothing? Invocation by Lion John Claypool. And our flag salute by Lion Dick McIntyre. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And our song led by opera star Secretary Phil Olson. It is a big sweet land of liberty, of the I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of thy pilgrims pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. Thank you. Bob. Thank you. Bob Jessen. Introduction of guests, please.
President Ken, fellow members, and guests, we have a lot of guests today, and we'll start with Greg. Greg's got a couple of guests.
Can we turn that up then?
President Ken Lyon, guests, I want to introduce my very brave wife, Julie.
We're going to put Reed on the spot. Now, Reed, will you introduce your two guests for us, please?
My wife Elizabeth, we have our two grandchildren with us. And this is Zachary, who doesn't want to go back to school. And Kenzie, who's real disappointed about no school.
Paul, would you like to introduce your guests, please?
President Ken, fellow lines of guests, I'd like to introduce my special guest, Amelia.
And Steve's got 4 guests today.
President Ken, Lions and guests, it's my pleasure at the front table here seated actually 3 district governors, past district governors. If I stand real close, it makes it 4.
As long as they stay seated.
Mark is the past district governor. Everyone knows Mark because he's a member of this club. Next to him and seated is Vice Council Chair J.D. Neller and his wife Susan. And past district governor from 2 years ago, Monty Ward and his wife Ann.
Collect $100 from that table.
Thank you, and welcome to our guest. And I do appreciate our past governors sitting while Steve introduced them, so they couldn't look up to him. Past President or Zone Sheriff Maryland, you have some comments?
President Ken, fellow Lions and guests, this is a very busy month for the zone chair, which happens to be me. First of all, today, the Education Committee for the reading program, we're going to be working on a trifold over here after the meeting. So anyone that wants to participate with that is welcome to join in. And that would be after the meeting. That trifold is for the symposium. That's going to be occurring on Saturday, September 29th. It goes like this. District G cabinet meeting is in the morning. Social time at 9, 10 to noon is the meeting for the cabinet. Noon to 1 is lunch, and at 1 o'clock is the service symposium. And currently, I have 4 clubs from G1, Castle Rock, Castle, Early Bird, and Pioneer Lions are participating in that. And in G2, Fort Vancouver, Hazeldale, the Center, and Orchards Evergreen. And hopefully we'll get a club from each one of the other zones that can participate in that. Think of it as a science fair. You can come, everybody's welcome. I have a sign-up sheet over here for the zone meeting that's coming up. All of this is on the calendar that past President Cindy Fickett has put together. But I have a sign-up sheet that's going to be out. Would love for people to come to the zone meeting. It is a little bit of a drive to Samakaway, but worth the time to meet other lions, to get more information about other lion activities and whatnot. So that date is September 26th. It will be at 6:30. There is a nice dinner. It will be $12. So the sign-up sheet's going to be available for the next month. I don't know, I might have forgotten something. Oh, visitations, can I share that too? I have some unofficial visitations that I decided to do last night. Early Bird Lions tomorrow night, Wednesday, 9 to 5. Castle Rock, Thursday, September 6th. Kelso Club, September 10th. And then my official visit to Waipaika will be September 17th. And Kalama, September 24th. And that's an unofficial visit as well. So there's a lot of opportunities for new members to join in if you want to let me know, and I'll give you more information about a visit.
And old members.
And old members. Are you old?
Used to be.
Representing past President Cindy Fickett, her one and only beloved Louis Fickett. Louis.
Yeah, we don't need. Good day. On the back table, and I put on the table here too, the roar.
Where's the other microphone?
So, and then. Oh, yes.
All over.
President Kansas, fellow president, Lion Rivers and all that good stuff. Hey, we got the picnic coming up this Sunday over at the Harvey, and there's the sign-up sheet, and, yes, they're welcome, last minute guest, and it's a Greek theme, so, wear your toga. And that's at the Harvey, at, Sunday at 2 p.m.
Sunshine Committee report. Where'd she go? Bob, tell her to get out here.
And fellow lions and guests. Bob Jeffen was in the ER with back spasms over the weekend. So glad he's here now. Bill Pontius is still down with his surgery that he had. Keith Cook's mom they have found a new cancer. I think it's bladder cancer now. So, and Bob Heidemann
Janice Newton is here from Castle Lions and would like to talk for a minute.
President Campbell, Lions and guests, I got a little info too. One of our past members, Mike Boland, a lot of you know, I talked about Mike before having a severe stroke. Talked to him at length last night. Still pretty messed up on his left side, no feeling whatsoever. But in talking to him, we found out goes in tomorrow for a double mastectomy. So when it rains, it pours over there. So keep those two in your thoughts and prayers.
We just had noticed we have a special guest. Bob, do you want to introduce a special guest? She has something to say about, I don't know, she wasn't on the agenda, so.
I can't figure out through this.
Okay, I'm going to speak very loud. I'm from the CASA Lions Club, and our big moneymaker is Larry. And September the 15th, we're going to be having Larry cash out at the CASA Elk. And so I'm here with some forms if you would like frozen berries so you can make strawberry jam. I make strawberry jam for my grandchildren. They're 8 years old, and I have to make jam. I have to make some strawberry jam because they say grandma jam and where is it? So I'll be making it soon. So if you would like to have some frozen strawberry jam, it's your home, here are the forms. Okay. So I will just leave them a chain, and you can just come up and get it. So pass them out. Or pass them out?
Okay, if you want the form for strawberry jam, raise your hand and they'll get the forms to you. And moving right along, thank you for bringing that part to us from council. We've already had a lengthy discussion on the sock hop. Bob Jessen, do you have something about the Highlander Festival this weekend?
Again, fellow members and guests, we'll be taking the ice cream wagon out for the last time this year, this Saturday over at the Highlander Fest. And I pretty much got a crew all gathered up. I need one more cashier from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock shift. So if you can do that, I'd appreciate it. Find your name over there on the list. Thanks for all the help this year with ice cream wagon. A lot of you did many times and just interesting.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite our past district governor, Steve Patterson, to come forward, and Walt and Marie Speck. Marilyn, you want to get in on this flag? Okay. You know, we have a great program that we step out and we reach in and help other Lions clubs. We have a great opportunity just down the road a little ways in the Vancouver area. We have a new Lions Club being formed called Cascadia Lions Club. They are in need of many things to get the club started. And as a special gift, other clubs step in and step forward. At this time, I would like to present our past district governor, Steve Patterson, and 2 very special people that have done something special for the Pioneer Lions Club and the Cascadia Club, Walt and Marie Speck. Steve?
Thank you, Ken. Walt and Marie acquired this set back in 2005. That's the date that's on the box here. And as a gift to the club, they have gifted it to us to gift to the new club that's being formed through Mark Manzel, called the Cascadia Lions. And this will be our gift. It's a set of flags like you see up here in the front. It's going to be missing a country or two that have come into being since that time, but who knows, who cares?
Who's gonna
So, who's gonna know? So, you're all sworn to secrecy, of course. Anyway, we thank the Specs for their generosity, because these are around, with the set and the stand, around $250. So, it's their gift to the club, and we're going to give that to the new Cascadia Lions.
Say something.
It's on.
Just talk.
I'm not sure what I can say that wouldn't duplicate what's already been said, but Marie.
Everybody's on music.
It's on.
Hold it to your mouth.
Is this better?
Yeah, chew it. Can't hear a damn thing now.
It works.
Here, let me put my hand on your buttocks. Sit there.
Here comes the other mic.
I think it's even worse.
Yeah, it's gonna be turned up over there. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm not sure what I could say that wouldn't duplicate what's already been said. Marie.
We will send you all a letter of what was said so that he could repeat it. But you know, two very special people have stepped up and done something very special, representing your Longview Pioneer Lions Club and the new Cascadia Club. It'll be something that'll always be remembered, and hopefully we'll have a little plaque on there indicating the generosity of the Speck family and the Pioneer Lions. Thank you both very much for all you do.
It's been well taken care of. It's been under a guest bed. We
Marie
forgot
said
about
it's
it.
been well taken care of. It's been under their guest bed.
Since 2005.
Thank you.
Bill?
Mr. President, fellow ladies and guests, I think there's an important point of order here, especially for Greg and George. These should not come back here the night of their first meeting. Right. Let them stay at least one meeting.
Did we hit the bell? Oh, the gavel. Hit the gavel.
With that, thank you very much. And that was something that I felt that we need to recognize the Specks for their generosity and what has taken place. With that, our speaker, chairman of the month, Vern Foster.
Yeah, you got Cindy.
Huh?
Yeah, Cindy had a comment.
What? Do what? You have an awards meeting. We'll tell you that at the end of this meeting.
I don't need no stinking microphone. King Lion Ken, fellow Lions and guests, as we know, there are problems throughout the world and in Cowlitz County. That's why service organizations like ours are so important. We help people who need help. But I think we can all agree that one of the worst things we encounter is when a child needs help. Through no fault of their own, some children are put in bad situations that might not turn out well. Fortunately, there is an organization in Cowlitz County, the court-appointed special advocate, also known as CASA, that helps children. Today, I've asked the executive director of CASA to speak to us about CASA, what it does, and if you're interested, how you may volunteer. Please welcome the executive director of CASA, Christy Grubbs.
Good morning, or good afternoon. Thank you for having me today, and thank you, Vern, for asking me to come by. Oh, there we go. Can you minimize the... as Vern announced, I'm Christy Grubbs with Cowlitz County CASA. I started as the director last year, and I believe I came to visit last year. And we've had a lot of really exciting changes, one of which is Jim Waters and his wife Sue are a couple of our CASA volunteers, and we appreciate them being here. That's just so he doesn't heckle me later. So, what are court-appointed special advocates? This is our mission statement. We are a powerful voice advocating for the best interest of abused and neglected children in the dependency court system in our community. That's really clear, right? So what we do is for those of you who might know a mandated reporter, or you may have called in a CPS call at some point or know someone that did, about 8% of those calls result in the child being removed from their parents' house for their own safety. Once that happens, they enter what we call the dependency system. They become dependents or wards of the state of Washington, and they enter what should be a 2 to 3 year process to try to find them safe, secure, and healthy housing, ideally with their parents and their family. So what does that mean? Our volunteer advocates advocate for the best interests of children that are removed from their parents' care due to findings of neglect or abuse. An attorney advocates for their client's stated interests. So that's an important distinction because children under the age of 12 do not get an attorney, even though in a dependency proceeding they're the only victim in the room. If you ask a child where they want to live, if they're an abused child, they're going to say, I want to live with mom. So that is why an attorney is not always the best option for a child in dependency. We are appointed to every case in Cowlitz County by our dependency court judge, and we work with social workers, attorneys, schools, doctors, mental health professionals. We work with everyone, and especially the child, to determine what's best for that individual child and their situation. Our volunteers are regular members of the community, and our staff trains and supports volunteers in their work. So our average volunteer, once they have their training, which is about 32 hours, they work about 5 to 10 hours, usually closer to 6 per month, advocating for their child. In that time, we ask them to lay eyes on their child once a month, to maybe observe a visit with their parent or their parents, to check out their placement, their foster home, to read school records, to check in with how they're doing at school, and to go to other planning meetings. They don't do all those things every month. They try to do 1 or 2 of those per month. There's usually a court hearing every 6 months. We love it when our advocates can come to court, but if they can't, that's okay. They've already worked with their supervisor to write a court report that will be there whether they can be there or not. So this is our current caseload. It's no surprise to anyone. Addiction has hit our community hard. Chemical dependency is the #1 reason children come into care. So if you look in 2014, I'm not sure you can read that, we had 254 cases over the course of the year. 2015 we had 213, and then we've gone from 313 to 358, and as of July we were at 345 cases in Cowlitz County. Those are unique children. They belong to us. They are ours. They are wards of the state. We are part of the state. So these are our children. In 2014, our staff only monitored 37 cases. 2015, that went to 70, to 196, to 249, and today we're at 265 cases are being monitored by staff. Our volunteers in 2014 had 217 cases, dropped to 143, 217, 143, 117, 109, and today I have 80 cases being worked by volunteers. What happened? As the need to work cases increased, our chances for recruitment decreased. If I recruit a new volunteer, it usually takes me 4 or 5 months before I can hand them a case, and then they need a lot of support, and we want to give them that. So when I have a court hearing on Thursday, I have to make choices, and this is what has happened. So what's kind of exciting is this is a really nice demographic as to why we're getting back to recruiting. So in 2015, a staff monitored case lasts 27 months, and the volunteer case was 24. 2016, it was about the same. 2017, a staff monitored case lasted 33.8 months, whereas a volunteer is at 25.8. As of this year, a child in state care that doesn't have a volunteer advocate, their case will average over 3 years. A case with a volunteer advocate is at 26 months. So we're only 2 months longer than we were a few years ago. So a child with a volunteer advocate gets sort of a fast pass through the system. The reason for that is simple. You can talk to Jim about it later. We work with our volunteers more closely because we have a one-on-one with that volunteer. And that volunteer works with one child or family group. So they're able to make sure the little things aren't dropped. Did dad's paternity test actually get filed in the court? Okay, we're hoping we get reunified. Do we have a concurrent plan that we're working for an adoptive home if we can't? What happens a lot with staff cases is we think we're going along with Plan A fails, and we start back at ground zero with Plan B. One advocate working for a child or family group can do a lot more than one staff member with 100 children and a handful of volunteers. So this is where we're going back to a volunteer base. Dependency in foster care impacts children. The longer they're in care, the more it impacts them. 50% of children will not graduate high school that are in foster care. Many do get their GED, but they do not graduate high school. We get a lot of children entering, they come to us, they enter care as a junior or high school, and a lot of them don't even have a semester of college or high school work completed. So getting them back on track is very difficult, and it really does require a one-on-one with someone to help them. Only 5% will earn a college degree. Only 50% will be gainfully employed by age 24. 50% will develop a substance abuse problem. 20% will be homeless if they age out of care. So the system ends with them on their 18th birthday. High school does not end on your 18th birthday. So they can do what we call long-term foster care, but a lot of these children, the last thing they want is an adult to tell them what to do, so that elective portion is sometimes hard. And that's where a CASA advocate has a relationship and hopefully can help them stay in school. In Washington, foster children score on average 30 points lower on their 7th grade reading test. The longer a child spends in care, the more likely they will have lifelong negative effects. And it is estimated that it costs the community $300,000 in social service expenses for every child that ages out of foster care. That means they don't have an adoptive permanent home when they turn 18. So volunteer impact. Nationwide studies have shown children with a volunteer CASA have fewer out-of-home placement changes. They're 50% less likely to re-enter state care. Some of our children have come through care 3 or 4 times. We have one that's on their 5th dependency. So children with a volunteer are less likely because we do more in-depth work. They spend an average of 7.5 months less in foster care. They have adoptions finalized an average of 5 months faster. They perform better academically while in care because one person is asking them regularly, how are you doing? And making sure they get the support they need in school, be it tutoring or what have you. They're less likely to be expelled for behavioral problems, and they score higher on the 9 protected factors for building resiliency. So one really exciting thing for us is we just got approved to get a portion of the mental health tax from the Cowlitz County government, or from Cowlitz County. So that is going to allow us to hire a couple more supervisors. We have also just secured an AmeriCorps member to come help us with recruiting. So we are going to be using our extra resources to do recruiting. It costs about $500 to recruit, train, and screen a new volunteer. In 2018, I spent a lot of my weekends and evenings recruiting because I didn't have staff to do that for me. I was able to bring on 40 new volunteers this year. However, we still can't support new volunteers, and so we don't have the retention rates we would like. So that's where we're working on going forward. We have 16 new volunteers or teams working cases since January. Every new volunteer completes a 32-hour training before they start a case. And that is done in our office. It's done in a group. We have some amazing staff that do training. They'll teach you everything. We don't necessarily want someone who has a history in dependency, who knows the legal system, who has experience with foster care. We have people with all of those, but we have regular people who just care about kids and want to make a difference. And that's our job, is to support you in doing that. Experienced volunteers also complete 12 hours of continuing education every year. It can be as simple as meeting with your supervisor. We actually have a list of books and movies, some of which are Like the glass castle, we just did a book club with that last year. We talked about how that impacts dependency. As a volunteer, how you might work that case if it came up to you. So we try to be creative. We try to build a community with our organization as well. So how can you help? Volunteer as an advocate. It doesn't have to be just you. Jim and his wife do it together. A lot of our volunteers do this with a friend, sibling, parent, just someone they want to hang out with a little bit more. It helps with confidentiality. I can't tell you about my cases, but if Jim comes in and we want to talk about a case, I can talk to him. And he can go home and talk to his spouse about that also. So bring a friend. We have some room on our board, and we also have a fundraising committee for our annual auction. We're always up for more books, toys, shoes, clothing, school supplies for our kids. We just worked with social services to put on a back-to-school drive for supplies and things. We usually have families over the holidays that are just getting reunified. Sometimes they don't have furniture and things, so we are always looking for a family, someone who wants to adopt them to help get Christmas gifts and things like that. Last year, I had a mom that we worked with, and we found a family to adopt them, and the boys wrapped gifts for their mother. And she said it was the first time on Christmas morning she had something she didn't know what it was since she was 14 years old. So that was fun that we were able to help the boys wrap gifts for their mother to give her a surprise. We have a very old office. We're always looking for help with maintenance and supplies and repairs. Donations and financial support are good. We have an auction every year. This year it'll be April 27th. And we also have a golf tournament as part of the Kilted Classic, as part of the Highlander Festival. So I do have forms here for that too. So also, I'm always happy to go talk to a group. So if you have another group or organization you'd like me to talk to, I'm happy to show up and bring my slides. So I want to thank you for your patience and listening today. And are there any questions? Yes.
How much problem do you have with your advocates and social workers that are hired by the state with the same contact?
You mean in reaching the social workers?
You're asking your advocates to be practically social workers.
Well,
The state has social workers for these children.
Yes, so I'll back up to when someone enters dependency, mom has an attorney, dad has an attorney, the state has a social worker, and the Attorney General's office is their attorney. And none of those work specifically only with the child. The social worker is actually working with the parents and the foster and everyone else, and they have 30 or more cases on their load. So our advocates work with all of them to give the court a clean, unbiased idea or impression of what's best for that child. Judge Hahn wants us to be the eyes, the ears, and the nose of the court. So a social worker is working with mom and dad and the child, and even multiple children, so there's always inherent bias in that. When a parent calls my office demanding that they want more visitation, I'm very clear of, I appreciate that, but that's not my job in this process. I will only ask for more visitation if it's in your child's best interest.
For Steve, I'm just going to piggyback on what you said. Social worker works for the state, obviously. They're making recommendations based upon what they think the state should be doing about the case, what the court should be doing about the case. The court put a lot of value on the CASA representative, because the CASA is looking at the child. The state social worker has all sorts of programs that they're going to recommend that the respondent has to comply with, drug-free things, mental health evaluations, all of those things. Those are independent of who's looking after the child. I mean, it's for the welfare of the child, but on the other hand, they're focused on a lot more. Frequently, the CASA representative and the social worker will disagree in terms of placement of the child, maybe whether or not the child goes back to the parent, things like that. So, the court needs somebody who is with the child actually making an observation from the child's standpoint, and that's the CASA representative. So it's a whole different ballgame. You need both. You have to have both. And you're not asking the CASA representative to do social work. They're not in it to get drug treatment or get, for the respondent. They're in it to see how the child's doing and if the appropriate for the child to return home.
Sometimes we work with the social worker to sort of push them to do things that should be done. There's a lot of different drugs on a drug test. I was on the phone last week with a social worker because I wanted a kratom test done on a mother who appeared to be doing really well, but everybody thought there was something else going on. So I pushed the social worker, and he and I have a good relationship, and we were able to get that test ordered. But we had asked him by email a few months ago, and it still hadn't happened. So sometimes it's also what's best for a child is not always to be with their siblings, and sometimes it is. So that is where our advocates will advocate for the best needs of this child, not the family group necessarily. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Anyhow, come on back up here. You're not through yet. You only wish you were through. You only wish you were through. Come back over
I'm not
here.
through, sorry.
One of the greatest programs around is CASA. And you know, the Lions Club do an awful lot for the community. From eyeglasses to hearing aids, and many, many other things. But you know, one of the greatest things in the world is when we can help a child take a step up. That is very important. That's something that child will always remember. And as long as we've been around with CASA, what a terrific program to help the children. With that, we would like to present you with, this isn't a beer mug, this is a coffee mug to keep you wound up to keep doing your job.
Thank you.
But also with that, be proud Lion of the Pioneer Lions and join us as we help the kids help each other.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. With that, where'd Phil go? Oh, Phil's there. With that, Cindy Sessions is going to have an awards meeting right over here in the soft chairs immediately after this meeting. Bob Jessen, did we have anybody here that raised a hand to be a volunteer or cashier for Saturday at the Highlanders Festival? There you go, Bob. How come all the new members always step up? That's the way it should be?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate you stepping up and doing that. Also, the picnic coming up this Sunday at the Harvey estate or mansion or house. Make sure you sign up over here so we get kind of an idea who's coming and what's going on. With that, we're going to start so I don't forget senility.
Mr. President, it's a very sad day for the senile people. Mark Kelch apparently is a rookie.
Happened already.
And Paul Spears remembered to sign in his guest, but neglected to sign in himself.
Paul, you didn't sign in. You signed your guest in, but not you. And if anybody sees Paul and his guest dancing, you know why Paul didn't sign in. That it? Okay. First things first. Relay for Life food. Food always comes first. What? Goes where? You? Jim Waters. I thought you said my wife. She's sitting there just... With that, drawing for the white ticket, 396. 67. Who else is in there now? You. Who's got 08? No. Our computer technology genius. Right down here in front. Okay, red ticket drawing. 05 47 15.
Really?
Where you want it to go?
Relay.
Darlene gets the red ticket. She wants that to go to Relay for Life. We thank you all for being here. Don't forget Highlander Festival this weekend, the picnic this weekend, the zone conferences September 29th. With that,
Wait.